I look like an old rooster. Oh, we got a viewer. A little time to get my video up. I don't know how long it's going to last today. My internet has been, oh, somebody went away. Yes, they got here by accident. I went over and checked. John has his morning crew together, and I I went over and listened for a while. They got a real good conversation going. They always have a good crowd. All right. Well, we had a very productive weekend. Got in some. Anytime you take a ride and you make it successfully, we had a close call. It was on I-278. There was a guy in a Ford Dually way over on the left-hand side, sitting over there. And at the last moment, he come right across the freeway. That's 4 lanes. And I had to cinch up hard on Miss Piggy to get her slow. God dang, I got a frog in my throat. I don't know what's wrong with my voice this morning. I kind of thought there was, I forgot about coffee is only Tuesday through Saturday. And I thought today was going to be coffee day, and I forgot about it being Monday. I mean, I knew it was Monday, but I forgot about they didn't have coffee on Monday. So I thought I would come over and share. Well, there's two for. Good morning, my friend. What are you in Las Vegas? Oh, yes, you are. Man, let me see. Oh, you're early out there. It's only 10 to 7. So, um, yeah, 10 to 7 your time, I think, unless they they may be on a different time zone than Washington. But I'm hoping you're having a good journey so far. You've made it there. And have you won the big one yet? I don't remember which place you said you was going to be staying at. I think you flew out so you won't be at the campground. There's just so many good places to choose from out there. Well, get yourself settled in, and I'm just glad to know that you made it out there safely. Flying has not been very good this last few months. I saw them taking off with Karen yesterday. I think she's on United Airlines. She attacked an Indian family, from India, but unfortunately they was born and raised in America. and she was calling them all kinds of names and stuff. They had to remove her from the shuttle bus that was taking them out to their flight. Why would anybody act a fool like that? You know, if you're going on a great adventure, leave all that animosity and stuff behind and just hope that you make a very successful flight. But that's just mankind for you. There's no rhyme nor reason. We've already had breakfast this morning, and we're ready to take on the day. Retired writer, he's got his crew going right now. And I figure I'm what to call an insignificant channel. In other words, me being on here is not going to affect anybody else. But in case a weary traveler happened to just wander along, they would find old Mac here to be able to talk with. I'll help them to try to get them through the day. Had a really a great ride yesterday. It was warm and sunny, a little bit windy off to the side, but it was just the ride in the woods, away from all the big city traffic and everything is really pleasant. We used to go there quite often. When we lived up in the Northwest, we used to go to Reno almost on any given weekend. And we occasionally went on down to Las Vegas. But Reno it's a small area, but it's really action packed. A lot of good shows. Hey, Chasing Ghosts. Well, Tara, I hope you've had a good weekend. You had a lot of storms out there. We had one last night. I went out there. This is a foolish thing to do, but during the lightning storm, I took my camera, went out there and did a little short of all the lightning strikes, and it would light up my tower. I've got a big tall tower out beside my house, and it would light that tower up. Well, it's on my web page. You can see the little short there. And I thought you have to be dumber than a day old chicken to go out there and hold your camera up in the sky while it's lightning all around you. I never was the brightest light in the pack. That just proved that old adage: when it's your time to go, you're going to go. Obviously, last night was not my time. Hey, good morning, Sick. Oh man, I hope you had a good weekend. Ours was pretty busy. We did a lot of things. Just stormy. We're just trying to stay ahead of the storms. Beautiful yesterday. You cannot believe it. Could 77 degrees, great riding, little traffic, and then the storm come in last night at about 10:30 here, and it was pretty ferocious at 10:30. Then it come back for a second time at about 2:20. Boy, she was a rumping and stumping when she came back a second time. Is my audio good this morning? I look like I've got a good signal over there. I haven't got a warning, but our internet's been going on and off because of all the storms. Oh, the reverb is up. Oh. Let me see. Hello, hello. Did I take some of the reverb out? I know what it is. There's another microphone laying over there. Okay, if I took the reverb out, but is it loud enough? Okay, if it's good, well, we'll let it go at that right there. I think I can kick it up a little bit or make it louder. Oh, I'll just leave it right there. Terrific, terrific. Thank you, my friend. I went over there this morning and watched Dave his little video he put out there, and he always makes an epic event. Well, I thought you was doing it in New Jersey style. Perfect, perfect, man. It's perfect. uh, uh, yeah, Dave was having oh my goodness, he's finding some interesting things, and he's got a lot of viewers. I'm telling you, he's growing in leaps and bounds. Well, I went over this morning and checked. I'm 28 hours away from having my full hour. So Miss Nona and a couple other people that watched some of my videos really added the hours up. And I just want to make that goal. I have no other goal other than just to make that goal. I like to make it before my birthday. So I really appreciate her doing that. In fact, I dedicated my movie just to her yesterday. I don't know if she got a chance to see it because she's a busy person as well. Oh, you're about halfway chasing ghosts. Well, it'll go pretty fast. You got a lot of content. Um, I'm hoping. Well, mine went up pretty quick this last year because I made an effort at it. Um, we just like to see them make that magic part. Yeah, they have what they call the tiny channel, the small channel, and mine is the insignificant channel. I have 30 or 40 loyal fans that, even though I've got 1,600 subscribers, I'm, I have my loyal 30 or 40 that I can count on. One time it got so bad, I even offered my family members money just to watch my channel, pay them for every hour watching it. they, they, uh, they didn't take me up on it. They just find it hard to watch Old Mac. Yeah, the old bike was really purring along good yesterday. It was just, I think everything just come together for the makings of a good ride, and, couldn't ask for any better weather. Yeah, I was watching last night at 11:30, and there was a big storm out there in San Antone, Texas, San Antone and Austin. I used to live out there. I used to live on Austin Highway, just north of San Antone. I was stationed over there. Yeah, I was working for the government. Hey, Thomas Bailey, good having you in here this morning. I think this afternoon, after it quits raining, we got to go get dog food, canned dog food. But when I rode home yesterday, my plans was to stop at the Shell gas station and fill my tank up. That's 9 miles from my house. So my tank would be basically full here at the house in case it has to set up for a while. I mean, I'd rather have a full tank so you don't get a lot of moisture in your tank that way. Well, when I got to I-65, the I-65 was plugged up solid, no traffic moving. I mean, I looked when I went over the overpass, I looked down there, I could see 2 or 3 miles of nothing but traffic going south. So I took a back road, to home. Between the route I had to take, there was no gas station. Oh, thank you, Thomas Bailey, for, giving me the old big thumbs up. So when I pulled into my house yesterday, I was on reserve. I think it said I had 30 miles left in the tank, so I'm only my nearest gas from here, probably, 14 mile. Mythical Rider, well, good seeing you. I hope your weekend was a good one. Ours was really good. Oh, Frogzilla, he watched my video, and he made some really, he really was thorough with his comments. I mean, he brought out some great detail things I hadn't even paid much attention to, and things he'd saw in the video there. And that's I really was really pleased. I like the up there at the boat launch up there, above the dam. Um, there's a huge tournament coming. They fish that. There's a pro bass tournament, and that parking lot will be full. And I'm telling you, it is wide open. Them guys are fanatics. They're running those huge V8 engines. I don't know. They make 500, 600 horsepower or something like that. Huge monster. It's actually an LS Chevrolet engine turned vertical, um, with a dry sump, and they 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 put them on the back of them bass boats, and they can run well over 100 miles per hour on the water. Really important to get to that favorite fishing hole first. every fish that they don't they just fish for the contest, but I if they figure out the cost of catching one of those fish, it'd be a very, very expensive lunch. Time you pay for your gas and the bass boat. He's a funny guy. Roland Martin, he is a funny guy. The show he put on, it was always I like to watch his outtakes, when he falls out of the boat or his rod snaps or, um, just all kinds of things that happen to him. I've caught some big fish in my, life. We, um, we used to fish for sturgeon. No, my apology. We fished for sturgeon also, but, uh, what we used to fish for mostly, when we was out in the ocean was halibut and, big halibut. They call them barn doors. They'll weigh right at 50 pounds. And when you get one of them, you put a rope around his tail and you drag him back. You don't put him in the boat. A halibut will tear your boat up, and they're really a strong animal. But you drag them back over to the pier, and then they hoist it up. And right there, they got canneries right there in a little place called Squim, Washington. They have canneries, and they take and put a tag on your halibut, and they process your halibut into canned fish. They can it and everything, um, and they do the same thing with the salmon. You get your fish, you don't get somebody else's fish. Yeah, that bass fishing, that's big money, man. That's like golfers. Who would think just hitting a little ball would be that expensive? I've got an in-law. He's related to me through my brother. He owns a pro bass company. He's a guy that he was a CEO at Time Warner. He was the CEO at Time Magazine, and he also was a CEO at Southern Publishing, Southern Living. Uh, he's retired now. He owns the Birmingham Barons. It's a baseball team in Birmingham, but he's got a series of those shops. They put on a lot of sporting events. They live in Atlanta, but he's got two nice homes here in Alabama, summer homes. We stayed at one of the, I think it was the Pro Bass shop. We stayed at Gander Mountain in Texas, over there by Fort Worth. Um, I know we went down into the Pro Bass shop down there, and it's pretty elaborate, pretty huge. They had a big aquarium. It had trout and all that kind of stuff in it. Oh no, can you imagine cheating at? Well, they're cheating for the money. Anything that you can name, they're going to be somebody going to figure out some kind of way of cheating on it. Well, hello, Miss Nona Grace. Well, I dedicated my movie to you yesterday, Miss Nona Grace. You remember you said you loved them old bridges. Well, I took a ride up to the old bridge. It's about 50 or 60 miles from here, and, and it was really pretty. It was nicely. Oh, you did watch it? Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I was so tired from the ride, being 85 years almost 85, that I had to come in and take a nap, and so I let my personal, robot handle all the light work for me. Well, we've got some did you see the bridge that me and Ray Gregory? I took Ray Gregory on a ride. He came over from Georgia on his bike, and him and I went up to the, covered bridge. We went to 2 covered bridges, and if you haven't seen the covered bridges. Oh, Moto's live. I went and checked. Moto was not live. He didn't send me a link. I went and checked. I couldn't find Moto live. Oh, well, you might if you when you go back over, apologize to him. I checked. I saw John was live, and he had his regular crew in there. I didn't wanna interfere with them because when I show up, it's a distraction from the real thing. They might have a good conversation going. I'll get in there and act like some kind of a clown or something, so it distracts. I'm like a distraction. We've got a lot of covered bridges here, long 375-foot bridges, and one of them I really like, that's the Clarkson Covered Bridge up in, Coleman County. It was built by, 2 brothers that had a postal route, and they were working for the post office department, and they made these covered bridges so that their animals could cross the river in the winter when the water's up. And they had to cover them because, back in them days, animals didn't like to walk across a bridge. A horse didn't. They would, if they panicked, they could kill you. So they had to cover them so the animals couldn't see. Half inch of snow. Oh, he's doing his live put on a Farron show there. Oh, okay. I've seen these. I knew he was going to, but I didn't see it scheduled. So you must have had a schedule I didn't see. I try to not interfere with none of their operations they have because mine is a insignificant show. It doesn't have any. Damn, let me get the frog out. It doesn't have any meaning to it or purpose other than just bringing people together and letting them kick up their heels a little bit and talk about the good old days. That's all I know about. I don't know anything about modern days. I try not to know about it. Sometimes you're slapped in the face with it and you really don't want to see it, but it's there. I like the peaceful tranquility of the days when, you come home from a hard day of work and you had a swing out on your front porch and you could relax in the swing, and a neighbor would come over and you'd go out and have a glass of tea and swing in the front porch and talk about the good old days and, just lazy, laid back, easy life. Oh, you're asking if he got his Sportster repaired. Okay. Yeah, I shared I shared with Nona Grace about Back in the old days, when you had fuses at your electrical junction box, when you blowed a fuse, now usually the reason you blowed the fuse, you might have overloaded a motor and it blowed a fuse, and like when the washing machine was running, or if you had several appliances running. Well, what you did is you put a penny behind it, and the current would travel through the penny rather than up through the fuse, because the fuse would be blown. And you screwed the fuse back in once you put the penny in there, and then you screwed the fuse on the top of it to hold it in place. And that worked out good. But if there was a short, the problem being was it would continue to send raw current down them wires till it burned the wires up and then caught the house on fire. And but oh, yeah, that it was really dangerous to do, and that's the reason I give the warning, make sure, you understand it's a dangerous thing to do. Nobody has those kind of fuses anymore. I'm like everybody else, I got breakers in my house, and I never did that personally because I knew better, but my parents, they did it. We didn't get electricity until I was 12 years old, so that was 1952. Not everybody had the experience to deal with stuff like that. You know, like right now, there's children that are born that they've had electricity all their life. They wouldn't even know what it'd be like without it. Yeah, circuit breakers, and I like them. They get reset. You can reset the same breaker. Just go out and reset the breaker. Oh, 1952. I was 12 years old when you was born, and 1952. Let me tell you about some famous people I met when I was 12 years old. I met Dwight D. Eisenhower. He had a successful military campaign. He was a five-star general, and when he come home from the war, um, and there's my friend Ed in there. He's up in Val-d'Or. Good morning, Ed. Val-d'Or, Quebec. What a wonderful place. If you don't know where that's at, look it up on Google Earth. It's in another world, and there's nothing but just magical people that lives in that beautiful valley, the Valley of Gold, Val d'Or. Um, yeah, he ran for president, and Alabama at that time was a staunch Democratic state. When Eisenhower ran, he converted the state of Alabama from Democrat to Republican just in a snap of a finger, because the men that served under him in World War II viewed him as a real true hero for the American soldier. He wasn't like a gladiator, he wasn't like a conqueror, he was a gentleman that was called to go to war, and he did his very best he could for his country, and he served in the most admirable way, and he became the president of the United States. And I met his opposing Adlai Stevenson ran against him, and he was the Democratic person that was just pretty well had it made. There's no way nobody could beat him. But as you say, the people spoke, and we had Eisenhower, and that was I like Ike. That was back during the days. Oh my gosh! Oh, how about that? You met Hoover. Um, well, at Key Largo, yeah. That's back in them days, you had presidents that had big yachts, and they were known for their famous big yachts, and a lot of them, like Kenny Bunkport and stuff like that. Those families, they had some money, and they really, I think the American people loved the fact that their president had some luxuries and things that they would never have. I met another person that ran for president under the independent ticket. His name was George C. Wallace. George Wallace was the governor of Alabama. And in fact, there's a song, but there's a Sweet Home Alabama, and they speak about they loved the governor, and Governor Wallace was much beloved here by the people of Alabama. And I met him at my cousin got blowed up in Vietnam, and he was in they had to put him in a hyperbaric chamber over there at Castle Air Force Base because when it blowed his legs off, he had a gangrene in there, and so they got the gangrene out. And George C. Wallace stopped by, and we was all in the room and shook hands with everybody. And his running mate was a famous military guy, and we got to meet him as well. It was his time came and it went, and we lived in different times. We being born here in Alabama, we was born in the segregated South, and there was times. I mean, we lived in like I referred to it in every movie I've ever made about the dark days of Alabama when they were citizens created by God. They was treated like second class citizens, less than human. They had to sit in the back of the bus. They had to eat at the back of the cafe. They wasn't allowed. They had to drink in a white water, of black people's water only, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I love the wonderful period of time, the easy, gentle living, but the darkness of that period of time, I would not want to go back to. Um, I just couldn't think of a God creating people just for the abuse of another race. I just can't imagine that. And how could you get on your knees and pray to God and knowing that you was mean to one of his children? No, we don't want to go back to them days at all. It was a sad place. Oh, you see, Nona Grace, what I'm saying is, it's hard to justify your Christianity when you're praying only about white people or about your own race. What would make you think for one moment God created you special? And yet it turned out to be that way, that if the color of your skin didn't make a difference. And that's a sad thought. So we ain't gonna ruin the week by thinking about it a whole lot, but that was the way it was then. Well, some of the good sides of living in 1950. Nona, you was born in 52, but I used to go in 1952 to Birmingham, and we'd go to Pizzett's or to Woolsworth, and they had a blue plate special for 58 cents. That's 58 cents to get a plate of food. And it had a piece of meat, like a piece of chicken, or maybe a meatloaf or some beef stew. It had usually three things: vegetables, meat, and bread for 58 cents. Yeah, and the problem being is when we were going to school, we did just like everybody else. We called people names. We, because it was the right thing to do at that time, there's a name for everybody, putting people down. It was just a way of life. It was everywhere. Around the dinner table, you hear your daddy talking about stuff like that, and you really admired your mama and your daddy, and you'd hear them talk about that and say things, and 'cause they was raised that a way, and but they were uneducated people. My parents had very little education, and they lived and they lived during those period of times, and it was just a way of life. But on the good side of it, getting away from the darker side was 4th of July, the picnics, and the homemade ice cream. And back in them days, every mama could cook. Some mamas had specialties like apple pie. Oh, my mom used to make the best banana custard. She made sweet potato pie, candied yams, all that stuff, and she was a really good cook. And my grandmother, oh, she was a good cook, and she we used to have a thing in the South. You love it or you hate it. It was called South meat, or it was known in some places hog head cheese. And there's a process that you have to go through with to get all the meat off the hog's head to make the South meat. So one time we were all playing cowboy and Indian up in the field behind my grandmother's house, and they smelled something cooking on the stove. The other boys did. I was born without the ability to smell, but they smelled something. And so my grandmother had a rule: nobody is going to ever come into my kitchen. She didn't want no hair in none of her foods or nothing like that. She was real fussy, but she didn't want you to get burnt. That's the story. Um, so we knew not to ever go into her kitchen. So the double dog dare was laid down. I dare you to go in there and take the lid off that pot to see what's in there. Well, now once you got to the level of double dog dare, old Mac stepped up to the task. I had to go get a little stool. I got a little stool, set it right by the old cook stove, and hopped up on the top of it and reached and grabbed a hold of that lid. Karo syrup on it. Oh my, and graham cracker. Oh, you remember, stuff like that, chasing ghosts. That was a way of life. And so I take the pot holder, get a hold of that great big lid, and I raised it up. Oh Lord, have mercy! Inside that big pot was a hog's head. When I raised the lid up, the hog's head was sitting up at the top, and two big old gray bubbling looking eyes were sticking out at me. Ah! I throw that lid, and that lid went clang, 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 and I ran out that back door, and Ma was sitting out on the front porch, dipping snuff and rocking. She heard that lid clanging in there, and she come a running. Woo! Oh, she got in there, and she was I could it scared the hell out of me. There was the gums had receded on the hog head, and you see big old tusk and everything in there go, it was like a monster inside that pot. But I nevertheless, the hog head of cheese was good when she got it all fixed up and everything, and she'd put it in a block, and she'd cut you off a big chunk of that hog head of cheese. Oh, yeah, almost everybody had a specialty that different. I have an aunt, my daddy's sister. Okay, there's a way of making chicken, or that's what they call us, back in our days, it was called turkey stuffing. You stuffed your turkey, and then they started using the name dressing when you'd make a pan of dressing, because it become sort of negative to put the dressing or the stuffing inside the bird. And so my aunt would make all these big pans of dressing using all the giblets and stuff and all the stuff that you put in there, but she would put all other kind of things in her dressing. She read them in magazines on, like chunks of apple or whatever, and boy, my daddy would just raise he would get so mad about her putting all that stuff in the dressing. His in his mind, a dressing stuffing mix was had to have a lot of cornbread in it, and it had to have some sage in it, and had to have the drippings from the turkey, and he didn't need a whole lot more black pepper, onions, and stuff like that. But she had put all other kind of things in dates or raisins or whatever. Oh, he'd get so mad when we'd go up there and she'd invite us to Thanksgiving dinner, and then she'd pull out that big pan of dressing. He'd fuss at her about putting all that stuff in the dressing because he wanted her to fix the old traditional style. And uh, she, oh, we had in our days, times are really hard in a coal mining community, so they couldn't buy the very best, like Folgers coffee, or I don't even think they had that back in them days. We drank Louisiana coffee, and Louisiana coffee was with chicory. Louisiana coffee with chicory, and and that stuff it was so black. The coffee was so black that it would darken your teeth. The cup you drank it out, you had to scrub that cup good. It would darken after a few cups of that coffee. That stuff was stout. Chicory was a substitute for real coffee. It was a root, and it was popular during the war. Back during the World War II, almost everybody was exposed to chicory, and oh, by the way, this gentleman, Ed, that came in from he's a real good friend of mine. Him and I, we go back a long ways, way back in the 20-meter days on the radio. And yeah, living up there in the Valley of Gold, he's got his children that was in the aviation, and we're all part of the aviation community. And so we was on a network called the International. What was that? Oh my god. International, Airline Pilots Association, International Airlines Association. See, I almost forgot. Um, but we was a member of that for many years, and everybody that was on that net was all associated with aviation. And, we've had some, I mean, really great year in and year out conversations, and, yeah, his daughter is he's got such beautiful children. His daughter, she's retired from the airline, and the son, I don't know if he's retired yet, but I believe he's still flying. Um, I've talked to him. He used to haul all these Muslims to Mecca every year. They got millions of them goes to Mecca, and he would haul loads of Muslims over to Mecca, and he'd have to lay over and bring loads of them back, and um, yeah, they are just the people of the world. In fact, we used to have a ham operator in Cuba back during the oppressed days of the Cuban people. He would transmit on his ham radio. All three kids are retired. Well, thank you, Ed, and God bless them. They've served the world. It's not about just Canada. They serve the world and the world's people. And I was going to tell about your daughter. She went to Cuba when their airline, flying down there, and she took a gift basket to this guy that we had been talking to for years, um, down there in things that he couldn't get in Cuba. And oh my gosh, she said, I think it was like a teary moment, because of receiving this wonderful basket made up of things that just outside their reach. Oh, 23,000 hours of airtime. Oh my god. Yeah, your son, I I got a picture of him, his co-pilot took a picture of him sitting over there and while they were flying, I think on one of those, uh, over to over to the east. I remember the time you went to France, Ed, when you guys all went over to, France, to Paris. I've gotta say, in my lifetime, you have been one of the noted characters that have came through my life. You and that beautiful woman of yours. He's got a woman there that is just so talented, and she can just do so many things. And Ed is a little old winemaker. He, um, old family traditions, garlic raisin. He raises garlic, puts away them big garlic. Oh my God, I love garlic in my spaghetti sauce. And he sent me some garlic to grow, and we had garlic for like 6 years. And something happened to our garlic. I don't know if it froze in the ground. I don't know what happened, but we lost the garlic after about 6 years. You know what? We put the Karo syrup in here in Alabama. My mama would take pet milk in a can, pet milk, and she'd add Karo syrup in the pet milk for the baby's bottle. She'd warm it up, and I remember she used to sprinkle it on her arm to make sure it wasn't too hot, and then them little babies would suck down that. We've had some major flooding. I haven't been out this morning, but it rained for like 12 straight hours here, so I'm sure we're underwater out there, but I'm not even gonna go out there. I'll probably go out there at noon. This afternoon, we gotta go get dog food, so for my, canned dog food. Oh, I love goat milk. Oh, that's right, you're right. That remember the, ad you took I took pictures of the flooding, and we were underwater here, well, I had to go get a backhoe and, an excavator and dig out these channels to get my water routed away from my property, away from the home, and yet we lost not only that, we lost all of our azaleas, we lost, oh, there were so many things. You remember I had that big pool out there, and it washed everything, away from the pool. Goat milk, is so healthy for you. Um, we, I used to drink it when I was a kid. In fact, I was the one that had to milk the goat, the nanny goat, but the rest of the kids, they didn't like it, but I liked that goat milk. And my wife and I, we went to Canada, and we had, a pizza up there in, Victoria. We were in the, island of Victoria there in British Columbia, and we had, pizza that had, goat cheese. Yeah, I built a home up in Washington State from a retirement home. This is where I was gonna retire for the rest of my life, and I put these French drains all around the house and the corrugated stuff, and so all the water that came down off the roof, and you live in Washington where it rains a lot, you gotta always prep everything so that water drains away from your property. And mine worked all the years that we lived there. Yeah, see, thank you very much. So you remember this guy Ed has got a memory on him. Yeah, I forgot about I still got pictures of our flooded property when everything is flooded here. Here's Nona Grace's opportunity to shine right here. She can shed some light on the French drain for Thomas Bailey. Yeah, we put them in around our house. Almost everybody in Washington had to have that set up. But I installed my own. I had the engineer to draw it up for me at Bowen, and I implemented the drain system the way he laid it out for the maximum amount of flow. And he also, the same engineer, designed my garage for me with I believe you called it a cantilever pour, where your footing and the floor is all poured in one pour, and with rebarb, and you have to have a lot of rebarb in your garage floors in Washington because of the earthquakes. And in mine, I got to say, we went through a 7.4 earthquake while I was there, and my floor did not crack. At cantilever way the footing is, it's triangular shape from the floor down into the ground, so it's got a really nice, strong footing. So the whole floor can move with the flow of the movement of the earthquake all in one piece rather than breaking and snapping in the middle from the rolling. It really worked out good. Oh my, you always have snow longer than anybody. There's your answer, Thomas Bailey. Well, you're a master gardener, Ed. You've been maintaining the garlic for so long that you've just got it. You've got it all figured out on it. And also, your place is very stable there. You're not subject to flooding like we were here or still are. And I remember your temporary garage, I believe you call it. Is it still holding up good? Oh, you don't even want to think about not being able to maintain your garden. And I know a change is coming for all of us. We've all got to face uh, changes in the future. Yeah, the tempo. Yeah, I like that. You talked about that at great length on the airline net there, and we enjoyed talking about your tempo garage. And we looked at Costco. There's a building. I want to get a building for my Harley. I've got it under the carport, and I even built its own little concrete foundation. I put a 10-foot concrete foundation, where I dug down in the ground 6 inches, poured 6 inches of concrete in there in the ground so that I can work there. And if I back my truck in loaded, I can back over that and I don't have to worry about it breaking the concrete. Yeah, French drain, that's a term we used in Washington. Um, when we had the house contracted, the bill, I took on the task of the French drain. And so that was my task. I did that. It saved us costs on the house by me doing the French drain. You take it down in April and re-erect in October. That's got to be quite a chore. Do you still walk down occasionally down to the pub and get yourself a cold one? Folks, you got to realize my friend Ed there is in his 90s. He's in his 90s, still an active human being that is a productive citizen in his neighborhood. He's still he's still alive and kicking, man. 96th year, buddy. Look at that right here. My friend Ad, and I'd like for you guys to get acquainted with him. Go and he's just a good, warm human being. Um, got a lot of great fishing stories. He used to have a crew that he'd go fishing with every year, and I look forward to the fishing season. Him and his buds going up there to the big lake and catching the fish. 96 years. Oh my God. I'm so, you make me feel good about life itself, Ed, is the fact that we was born without an ending date, no exploration. You and I might be the only two that gets out alive. Oh, I'm just joking. No, if you actually, how about that? Turning 96. That's wonderful. I'm hoping I can still walk and chew gum at that age. Oh yeah, good wife, man. I mean, she's been a good one. I'm gonna tell you what, she's kind of pleasing on the eye too. To have a fine lady to sit across the table and make you plans for the future with, and that's Miss Marguerite. I'll tell you, she was much loved by everybody that was on the airline net, and well, your whole family was. That album you took her. You guys went down to the uh, down there. Well, they cut that album, that CD. I still have it right here in my drawer, and I've made a lot of good musical videos using that. Your daughter Elizabeth. I've made a lot of good videos, musical videos, and featuring her and her husband in the video, and yeah, we had some really good days. Then a good cook too. Yeah. They those videos were really popular. The musical videos I did for Elizabeth, they was really popular. I got comments from all around the world the people that viewed her, the ones I dedicated to her and using her own songs. And when I love it when she did that "Wind Beneath My Wings," her version of it. I believe she was at Celine Dion's studio. She was whatever. However, she has such a similar voice to Celine Dion. It's amazing. One thing I tell you about age, you mentioned God. You mentioned God there, Ed. As you get older, you find that He has been your longest friend. You know, we got a lot of good friends here and throughout our life, but the one that has always been there, has seen you through the births of your children, been there when the most happiest of all moments, the saddest, the loss of your mom, the loss of your wife, or the loss of your any losses. He was there to give you the comfort. I did a poem, a little bit of a rhyme and poem to Dave this morning. I wrote him one about his long rides he does across Australia. And the only shadow he has is the shadow of a mighty hand from God as he rides the long, desolate highways in the outback when the temperature's, 40 degrees Celsius and above, um, and water is so precious. I don't know if he's got an established link. When I said follow him, you don't get a chance to follow him because you're not a ham radio operator. I used to say that to other people because he's a ham operator, and if you're, I don't know what frequencies running, but you'd have to have a radio to tune him in. But he used to tune in and talk to me and my gang on the radio here, and he was always we had a gentleman that lived in Mississippi that used to fly banana boats from the Gulf over to Nicaragua or somewhere over in Central America, and he would fly down there in his seaplane and load up the seaplane full of bananas and fly back. His name was Dale, and he lived in Loosedale, Mississippi. Well, Thomas Bailey, well, thanks for joining us this morning, and thank you very much for joining us. Come back anytime you see us in here. Come on in and join us. Yeah, there's Adelard, Adelard. We call him Ad. We had such great show on the radio. Everybody looked forward to it. People we had a gentleman that lived in Ivanhoe, Minnesota. He stayed on the air till well after 100 years of age. In fact, he was at a nursing home and he was broadcasting from the nursing home till they took his radio away. But I think he lived to be 104. And then we had a friend named Norm that lived in Northern California. Norm had a lot of mileage on him. And we used to have Beltway Bob. Bob lived on the Beltway there in Washington, D.C. We had Minnesota Bob, Beltway Bob. We had Dale from Loosedale, Ed, and of course, we can't never forget the captain. Um, anyhow, we just had a really good group of people that look forward to every day, the visits every day. Well, good morning, Ed. Thank you very much for blessing us with your presence, and may God continue to give you a blessing. And I'm hoping you have a great 300 uh, garlics coming up. So that's going to be good. Enjoy life and live long, my friend. 7-3, my friend. In our ham world, when you send Morse code, after a good conversation, you would send at the end of the conversation, you would send 7 and 3, the code for 7 and 3. And what it meant is with regards, best of regards, with regards. And that's plural with the regards S. There's never been such thing as 73s, plural. It's just always been 7-3, and that was the conversation's over, and it's been a good one. So when you hear old ham radio operators saying 7-3, and another thing they used to do, instead of laughing, they would send HI, 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 hi. Because you'd have to look at the composition of H and I to get the gist of the humor in that. Um, HI, HI, HI. That means you're laughing. That's like the day modern kids use LOL and when they're texting. And a ham operator, we used always hi, hi, HI. And we had a lot of shortcut words we used to, instead of typing out, tapping out, this is, we would take shortcuts. We'd just send DE. We like all humans, we learn shortcuts and even in Morse code, and we came up. Ed and I, we came up during the days when you had to be proficient at Morse code to be able to get your license. You had to prove your efficiency by going to the federal examiner, and they would send you text, and you had to copy 100% copy. Or I think in the later years, you only had to copy so many words out of 5 minutes of. They would send for 5 minutes, and out of the 5 minutes, you had to have so many words copied in a row or whatever. They changed it. And then they outlawed it or got rid of all the Morse code altogether. But the old traditions, it still holds on. You was that question for me, Thomas Bailey? You got email, I think, or that's probably for Ad. Oh, thank you, Nona Grace, for coming and joining us today. And now I know your time is just like everybody else's. You got to divide it up as much as you can. I was on early with Dave. Sometimes I'll get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'll do a morning show at 3 in the morning, so so I can talk with the people in the other parts of the world. Because of being when we're 12 hours apart, 12 to 13 hours apart, like we are with Australia, you got to find it where you can get within the time. And then I go up there and watch his replays of his videos because I can't get to see him live sometimes. Ah, I see what you mean. Yeah, my train, it delivers that's how we get our email here. When the train pulls into Grinder's switch, you got mail. Now I think let me see, how's it? You got mail. Yeah, well, it's 10 here at my time, but yeah, it goes off every hour and hour. Different train. There's 12 different trains. Some of the trains are pulling into the station, and some of the trains are pulling out of the station. It's been running. I've had that clock on the wall for 25 years. Boy, I sure could use a second cup of coffee. I had a I had a big cup to start the day off. Maybe I could call the little girl. Where's my phone at? Oh, there it is over there. Hang on. Ah, I don't even think I've turned my phone on today. Let me see. Nope. Let me get the old phone going here. And I'll give her a call and see if I can get me some coffee. Old Mac is needing some coffee. I finally got that frog out of my throat, almost. Well, the little birds are busy out there eating. All right, here we go.
Hello po.
Yo, what it be?
Not much. What are you doing?
How about bringing me a cup of coffee?
All right, I gotta give you your pills too.
Okay, my pills. Yeah, that's right.
I just was waiting for to slow down on your show. I didn't want it to interrupt anything.
Well, I'm still on the show, and everybody's hearing about you giving me pills. Narcotics.
Your happy pills.
You're my pill fixer.
I'm your mule.
Yeah, you're
I'm your mule.
yeah, my little
All
jack
right, I'll get you
my
another.
my little jackass.
Hey,
Yeehaw, yeehaw.
I made.
I shut her up. I hung up on her before she could have a rebuttal. Uh, she'll come in when she comes in. She going, "You hung up on me." Yeah, she's my mule. She makes sure the old Mac takes his medicine. We have a fail-safe system here. I have to have I have a deficiency in vitamin D, and I had another see ester C I take every day. It's a fortified vitamin C, and I take a magnesium because of cramping. And so I take very little real narcotics, but I do take a lot of vitamins. And that's what keeps me so beautiful. I think she said she had a few more minutes in her show that she's watching. We have movie nights here. She picked the last 3 movies in a row, was absolutely great. And then last week, we had 3 of the worst duds on Netflix that you ever seen. Supposed to have been comedies, and we went through the whole entire movie without even smiling. Wow. I don't have to take anything seriously. I do take, my diabetic medicine. I'm doing glycoside and, very little, anything else. I hear her stirring around over there, so our house is a kind of a big old house. It's, this room where I'm sitting right here, my room is 30 foot across. It's 30 foot to the other side. And it's over there on that side, it's 18 foot wide, 18 by 30 over there. But over on this side, because of the closets behind me, it takes up 4 foot of space. And well, yeah, we're down. I'm sorry, 3 feet of space. So we're down to 15 foot. This portion of the room's only 15 foot wide. But from here to that other window over there, it's 30 feet. And you go down the hallway. We got a long hallway, and as you go down the hallways, you got bedrooms to the left. Uh-oh, here come my coffee.
I gave you a little bit of my happy juice.
You put me some happy juice in it?
Yep.
So I got Bailey's in it?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, that's good. She had some Bailey's in hers earlier, and she gave me a sip of hers with Bailey's in it, and it did taste good. No, not Thomas Bailey's, but Bailey's the drink. My gosh, you take medicines. I can't even say the names of the words. They're long there, buddy. Yeah, I have. And when the weather's bad, I broke my leg. I have a lot of pain in that area there, but I don't. I mean, I don't take nothing for it. I never have. But there's been times I wondered how long it was going to continue to hurt. But somewhere, you go to sleep and your mind gets rested and relaxed. You wake up and it ain't hurting. You go, whoa, that was good. But and other times, you get up in the morning and it's still painful, especially during bad weather. Now, this guy did the work on me. The surgeon, he is really good. Um, Let me see if I can get it.
Ugh. Oh.
Looks like wax, don't it? Them old legs have had a hard life, let me tell you. Got to take the good with the bad. Thanks, sweetie. She's now giving me the handoff. My mule. She's giving me my. She's giving me my daily supply.
There you go. Until tomorrow.
I got to get me some. Hey, how about taking the lid off my? I got one hand here full. There you go. And if you take the lid off for me, thanks. It's hard to do with no hand. All right. For those well, I can't show them. I try to. Yeah, you can't see the little peels there. There's a. Thank you, my little mule.
Until tomorrow.
Thank you, honey. Well, let me see. What can we do today? Yeah, she's a good human being. There's my shot glass. See the little gun? You got to hold a little handle over here. This gun is loaded. Shot glass. Yeah, I got a collection of shot glasses. Me and my sister, we collect. We went to a lot of places, and I ended up with a bunch of shot glasses. There's some really. We got those at the Lake of the Ozark. That particular shot glass there. Yeah, we got that at the Lake of the Ozark, and we had a good time. Her and I went up there and took a helicopter ride, and my sister's kind of like that Saturday Night Live character, Debbie Downer. Um, we get in the airplane, we're in the helicopter, and we're all sitting there, and he's going over his checkoff list. And she said, "Has this thing ever been crashed before?" And everybody looked at her, wah, wah, wah. Uh, that motor sounds funny. Wah, wah, wah. You sure the propeller is on here tight? Wah, wah, wah. Everybody, she go, can it actually lift this many people? Wah, wah, wah. Uh, if this thing did crash, how close will we be to a hospital? Wah, wah, wah. She's home, no stroke. She had a potassium shortage. She was low on potassium. That's the reason she blacked out. Yeah, she was really relieved that she didn't have a stroke. There was a little bit of confusion right at first because of her lowered potassium. Yeah, normally she would be in here, but she usually comes in 2 or 3 hours after we're finished. Well, I think I'll stay on here for a little bit longer. There's quite a few. Oh my God, there's a beautiful woodpecker out there, and oh my, he's actually breaking up the little kernels of it's cat feed. We're feeding the birds cat food. Now he just flew off. Here come a big robin, just landed in his place. Mm, I love to watch the birds eat. Now my sister that was flying with me in the helicopter, that was Joyce. She was down here from no, I think she lived here then. Yeah, she was living here, I think. Yeah, it's been a long time ago. Yeah, she was living here. I think she's been gone 5 or 6 years now since her husband died. I wish she'd come back home. We have a lot of fun. There's so many things. Well, I shouldn't say that. We have the potential of having a lot of fun here. The weather is always good, other than when it's a little bit stormy. And you know, if you wake up in the morning feeling good, as you want to go out and do something, you can do it here. Yeah, we did a little short video last night during the lightning storm, and it didn't get very many hits, but I wanted to make sure I recorded it because it was pretty intense. I don't think. Let me see what we got over here. There's all kinds of little buttons and gadgets and stuff. Um, oh, I thought, okay, choose from your videos. You set up an overlay for your breaks. Okay, this is an overlay will be seen to enter the third party. Okay. Oh, okay. Let me see. I'm gonna try to pick a use this URL to add the overlay to your encoder. Use default overlay. Okay. How do we set the break up here? Choose. Okay. Use this URL. I don't know what that was. I don't know. I'll have to read more about that right there. Um, I was going to set up a. I was going to set up a break screen so I could go take a break to go to the bathroom, and it was a little bit more complicated than I thought I would. Uh, what share screen? I don't understand what that is. Share it with who? Um, no, I wanted to take a break, just go to the bathroom, and but I haven't done that yet. But that's pretty neat. I saw how to do it over here, but it doesn't seem. Use this URL to add the overlay to your encoder. I don't know where the hell the encoder is at. This overlay will need to be integrated to your third-party encoder to work. I don't know what that is right there. That's more than I have time to look at. Yeah, I'm looking for something else over here. No, that don't do it either. I know there was a music that you could add music to your YouTube. Okay, I think I can do this here. We'll see how this is going to work out. I don't think it's going to work out good. Um, I see him. I see Motobomb is out there working. There's Motobomb. Oh, too many reflections there. Motobomb's out there working. Okay. Hmm. I'm looking for music. Music right here. This is YouTube music. No, I better not do that one. Yeah, he's doing the
Then
Yamaha.
all the stars align.
Oh,
This tab, go right there. got to go over top. And then we got to make sure it goes in there. Okay, that was easy. It has to go forward enough to get in that slot. Oh yeah, hold up. I'm putting the cart way ahead of the horse. We got to put on the other thing. It shouldn't take long. Did you hear me say that?
I'll eventually will learn all the things you have to do to do the things like play music and stuff on YouTube. They limited what you can do. As long as you're playing YouTube music, it's okay. Oh well, we will. Well, continue on just like we had good sense. I got my coffee cup and my phone in the wrong position. Let me get my. Wait. Oh, boy, everything's out of kilter. Get my coffee up here.
Well, looks like the crowd has slowly evaporated. Just 2 or 3 strong individuals is what it takes.
We have all of our everything. We no longer pay any bills. All of our utilities, our electric, our telephone, all that stuff is automatically deducted from our account, and we don't ever have to worry about ever any late charges or nothing like that. They just ever since they started doing that, probably 10, 15 years ago, we signed up on it, and we don't regret it at all. You never have to worry about, did you see my phone bill? I sent you a phone bill, man. We're gonna turn you off." Yeah, easy pay. It's a payroll deductible. I've been drawing my retirement from the company since 1995, and I've never seen a check. It's always been direct deposit. Never have to worry about it. You know, when you living a full life and you're going and you're traveling and all that kind of stuff, you might forget that you have a utility bill or something, and you come back home and your things have been turned off. You go, what happened there? And then you realize you didn't pay your bill. Well, this way you never have to ever worry about it. That's right. So far, I've never lost a penny that way. They've never cheated me. I've never been nothing. I'm glad Ad showed up this morning to pay us a visit. Man, that's what an individual. He certainly has longevity, uh, lived a good life. We've talked to him when it was 40 below zero, and he'd still be on the air. He'd be just talking 40 below outside. When I was driving over the road, I used to check in. Um, you never knew where I was going to be at. Um, I would check in from Salt Lake City or Miami, Florida, or Seattle, Washington, and they was always interested. Where you at today? uh, it was like traveling geography. You just never knew where I might be at next. Yeah, he's way up there in Valdor. If you look, he's 300 or 400 miles north of Montreal. He's way on up yonder. They have a large gold mine operation there, and I think the runway there is 12,000 foot long runway at Valdor. Yeah, they've lived there all their lives and raised their family. And if I'm not mistaken, he came down to New Orleans, I believe he did. I think he came down. I know he's been down here in America. They're well traveled people. I'll stay on for 10 more minutes and give all you guys a chance to do what you got to do today to get your life started. But we're going to probably get off, and I need to go out and survey the damage if we had any in the storm last night. I think Angelique, she's been outside and she didn't say she saw any damage or anything, but I did hear some big noises. I want to make sure that my western side of the house is not exposed. We have an all metal roof on the house, and it's got caps, that comes around over the edges, and because if the wind ever got under it, it'd start peeling off that pop metal layer. We've seen that happen before. When you live in a high, windy, stormy area, you got to make sure that you've everything is secure where stuff don't blow loose. When we was in Montana, we we were working remote. We were out there putting silos out in, and oh, we watched the temperature. When she dropped down to 20 below, we go, "Whoa, that's cold and windy and snowing," and then it dropped down to 30 below, and they the snow sort of quit blowing. There was not as much snow coming down at 30 below, but when it got to 40 below, there was ice and wind being blown around that was on the ground, but not much coming from the sky. And at night, it would be so clear when it was 44 below zero. It would be so clear you could see the northern lights really good there, and it's beautiful. And the big sky country they call it. We in January of 1979, they'd cut us orders to travel to Whiteman Air Force Base, so we had to. The military they came in and packed all of our stuff up to move us to Whiteman Air Force Base. So we had to get in our own personal vehicle and drive out to Sedalia, Missouri. The morning we left Lewistown, Montana, it was 70 below, 70 below, 70 degrees below zero. And it was so cold. I had put a cooler the night before. We put the cooler and stuff in I had a Chevrolet Blazer, K5 Blazer, one of the big ones. And we'd put a cooler in it. No, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had a K5 Blazer. Put a cooler in it. And when we left Montana, and I think we were somewhere over in South Dakota. It was lunchtime, and I told one of my boys that was with me to get me a cold beer, and the beer inside of the cooler was frozen. That's when it was 70 below zero. It was so cold because we left the thing out at night. Now we had a plug in. We had it plugged into electricity, the engine block heater. So when he handed me a beer, it was frozen. The beer was solid. When you pulled the top on it, nothing came out. You couldn't turn it upside down. It was frozen inside the cooler. It was cold. When we got down to Sedalia, Missouri, that cold front that was up there in Montana pushed its way all the way down. It got down to when we got into Sedalia, it was 22 degrees. Below freeze. 22 degrees, and not minus 22, but just 22. And that was really cold for that part of Missouri. And then it started snowing. Oh man, did it ever snow. And they was cussing all of us there. They said we brought all that snow in from Montana. And we had that four-wheel drive, you know, Blazer. And so we had no trouble getting around. But they gave us a little when we got down there, GSA gave us a Chevrolet pickup truck to drive, and it was two-wheel drive, and it we couldn't hardly move around on the ice very well. But that's what they gave us to drive. And then they gave us They bought all new 1979 Dodge pickup trucks, had a 360 engine in it, and they gave me a brand new Dodge truck. And yeah, when we left Sedalia, when we left Lewistown, Montana, and it was so cold and everything. That cold just was, it just hung on to everything for a long time. I went down and bought a new motorcycle. The guy took me down to Sedalia to the Honda dealership. I bought a new Honda 750 Honda and CB 750. And I wore a Levi jacket down there. Because when I got in the pickup truck with the guy, a Levi jacket with the heater on felt good. Well, while I was there, the temperature dropped. I walked in. They had to actually, the one I wanted was still in the crate. They had to assemble it and they put it together for me and rolled it around up. I had to wait 3 or 4 hours to get it. Well, the temperature dropped and I drove from Sedalia up to Knob Noster, Missouri, where Whiteman Air Force Base is located. And it was like in the 20s, 19 or 20 degrees with a Levi jacket on. Oh man, did I ever get cold. But then the weather soon it warmed up and we was out flying down the highway. For all you hardcore Old Mac uh, listeners, you got 2 more minutes to get it all said. Then we're going to throw a big wet blanket over this whole operation because I have to go to the bathroom. I could have figured out a way of making so I could put like a page up there. I could have walked off and just left it on the flag and everything, but people would come by and go, "Did he die? Is he dead? He ain't there, but his flag is. Is he laying on the floor? Somebody get the smelling sauce. I think old Mac fell out of his chair." I really want to thank all those that watched my video yesterday's ride. I appreciate it. You get a chance, go look at my little short I made of the lightning last night, kind of get an idea. You can see my old tower out there by the house all lit up like a big skeleton standing out there in the darkness. Wind blowing real hard. I put the music, "Come On Baby, Light My Fire," Jose Feliciana. Um, we used to work on the A-37 Dragonfly. A-37 Dragonfly is made by the Cessna Corporation during the Vietnam War, and it's a two-seater that it's like the A-10 Warthog. This thing can haul a heavy load. And I used to work up in the hellhole where I'd get up in there and they'd have both engines running, and I have my earmuffs on and earplugs in, and they'd have the engine spooled up. They had to take the engine up to full, uh, spooled up RPM, so we could set we put what happens is pilots sometime would go into a hard turn and they would get so many G forces they'd black out, and this thing had we had to put a thing in there that allowed the plane to come back to level. And um, I was not a worker; I was an inspector, but I had to go in and verify that the thing was up in operating position and do a buy off on it, put my stamp on it, that it was good to go so that if the pilot did black out, he wouldn't nosedive into the ground, that he would seek a level, spool the engine back and all kind of stuff. But um, I used to work up in there and I'd be waiting for them to spool the engines up because it takes a little while to get yourself up in position. You can't get up in there after the engine starts running. It's just harder to do. And I used to do that. Come on, and we had a little microphone, we'd stick right here on our lip. Would say, "Come on, baby, light my fire." That means we was in a position for them to light up the engine to kick that puppy off. And it was truly a hellhole, let me tell you. Scary moment. All right, y'all had your fun for 2 hours now, and now, I'm passing the plate around now. You go ahead, Thomas Bailey, and you go ahead and pass it around here, and, I don't wanna hear no change hitting the plate either. I got that plate specially designed that it picks up the sound of a nickel hitting the bottom of the plate. I like to hear the shuffling of large bills going into the plate there. Come on, friends and neighbors. If you don't help out old Mac here on his show, how's he going to keep this operation going? This is a big high budget show here, folks. I'm telling you, without you contributing to the old Mac show here by your hard earned money and everything, we wouldn't be able to bring you the quality show that we do every day. Come on now, folks. Come on, let's dig in deep here. Uh, every show you go to, every one of them said, "Now, hey, before you go, I want you to hit that button over and subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed, shame on you." Nope. And you don't have no obligations in mind. When you come to my show, you're under no obligation to do nothing but just kick back and tap your little fingers away over there. Let old Mac do all the talking for you. Gets tired, he'll put Robbie the robot. Oh, Robbie the robot, he can handle any audio issues. All right. Y'all have had fun. I've had fun. And I got to go see a man about a dog. I'm not going to move around or nothing for a few minutes because, see, every time I do this, when I go to end my show, it always catches me in an awkward moment with my finger sticking up in the air or me looking off to the side or whatever. I like it. What I do when they pass the plate around, I will reach in and take all the money out of the plate and then just write a check and throw the check in there. And the check will bounce. uh, nope, no rubber checks here. God bless you. Thank you very much for being on the show this morning. Sayonara, goodbye, so long, hasta la vista, baby.